Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys. Alright, here we gonna talk about applied linguistics and language teaching. Okay, without any further ado, we're going to do first, which is applied linguistics. What is applied linguistics? Applied linguistics is understanding language, how language is learned, and how language is used for achieving purpose and solving problem in the real world. And next is about the development of applied linguistics. Okay, applied linguistics is start with writing skill curriculum developed by Plato and Aristotle, then Samuel Johnson's Dictionary of English Language in 1755 for language standardization, spelling, and then 7 years later, brave Robert Laws made Introduction to English Grammar in 1762 for correct grammatical understanding. Okay, that is the short explanation about applied linguistics. Okay, next we going to talk about language teaching. But before we going to there, I wanna explain first about how language teaching towards the modern era. Okay, first is Chomsky in 1959. The concept of universal grammar, and then there is Michael Halliday, developer of systematic functional grammar or systematic functional linguistics, and then there is CLT or communicative language teaching, and then in 1980 a language test was developed such as TOEFL, IELTS, and TOEIC, and the last is CALL or computer assistant language learning. Okay, that is the language teaching towards to the modern era. Okay, next we talk about language teaching. Language teaching has various approaches, so we gonna talk one by one. First approaches is teaching speaking. As educator or as the teacher, what we need in teaching speaking? First is the confidence. This is the important thing. And then know the material, and the last, not using difficult words oftenly. Okay, that is what we need in teaching speaking. Next is teaching listening. There are strategies in teaching listening. First, introduce pronunciation in more detail to students. The second, provide an understanding of functional expressions. And the third, give tips on how to remember important information. And next, give a description of the theme of the conversation that was heard. And next, time managing. And the last, often practice in listening, because if we more practice in listening, it will make our student better listening. Okay, next is teaching reading. In teaching reading, we know many students bored for reading, so as a teacher we should make our class, our environment in class much better, such as we give them model such as the game, such as snowball throwing learning model. So this maybe can make our class in teaching reading will better. In snowball we separate the student to several group, and then we give them the text, and then we ask to them what is in the text that we gave before. Okay, I think that is much help to teaching reading. Okay, next is teaching writing. In teaching writing also there are several strategies. The first is pre-writing. This is time to brainstorming, and then there is the drafting in this stage of the writing process, and then revising. In revising, students should read what they have written again, and then student must rearrange word or sentence and correct grammatical errors, and then there is a proofreading, and then the last is final draft. Okay, next is about teaching CLL or community language learning. In this teaching, students work together to develop what aspect of language they would like to learn. And in CLL there is the weakness, because this is only can do on small class, and also as a teacher we should have extra power like a physics and psychics. And next is about teaching with the silent way method. Okay, in silent way method, the student should more active and the educator more silent but active in directing. We as a teacher in this method as a guide, as organizer, and as an accelerator. Right. Next is teaching language with Suggestopedia method. Okay, in this method, as like its name, Suggestopedia, we give the suggestion and the motivation for the student feel suitable. In this method, believe that humans can be directed to do something in order to understand something they don't know. Okay, next is about teaching language with the TPR or Total Physical Response, developed by James Esser, the professor psychology of the California. And TPR is suitable for the kindergarten because this more focus on the motion. Okay, next, teaching language natural approach. In natural approach, there are also the strategies that teachers can use. First, the teacher acts as an authority in the class, and then imitate the first language learning process, and last, creatively instruct students to do activities that benefit the language learning. Okay, next is teaching for teenagers. In teaching for teenagers, we can use several strategies such as lecture. We can also group, and also interaction, which is the question and answer. Or we want to effective in this teaching, we can combine these three methods with GBA or genre based approach, which is the combination of three methods with the lecture, group, and interaction. Okay, the last method in teaching language is English for adults, and there is tip also in teaching for adults. First, connect with him, and then make them feel comfortable. When students feel safe to speak and make mistakes, they will speak more often and more honestly. And then avoid childish books because the adults don't like that. And also warm up with real world video on internet. And the last is give every student a chance to speak. Okay, that is all the various of teaching language. So we are in the end of our podcast. So I wanna make conclude about my explanation before. I think all the approaches of language teaching aim that the student not feel unpressure, so the student can feel free and easy go in the class, so the transferring of language can be success, or teaching language can be success. Alright, I think enough today. Have a nice day guys, and last I say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.